All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flightdeck Live. I'm Cliffy D. This is Tim Capper.
I'm Tim Capper, a very wet Tim. Actually, you're wet.
We're both
You're a
very
lot wetter
wet.
than I am.
It is raining cats and dogs. We just got out of Percival Molson Stadium where the Montreal Alouettes beat the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 25 to 17 or 25 to 18. Sorry. What a game! I mean, as far as weather delays at halftime, just the way that everybody just kind of came together. It was not the prettiest game by any stretch, but they got the W, and that was the important part.
It is true, yeah. I mean, it's, the score is not indicative of how many field goals are actually kicked, but there was, one thing we had to say, there wasn't an offensive touchdown in this game.
At all.
At all. So it's...
Credit to the Alouettes defense. I think this is the third game now where they did not allow an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, first two, and then this one tonight, yeah.
Which is impressive, but by that same token, then the Alouettes didn't score any offensive touchdowns either, and that is a little bit of a concern, but a win's a win. That's really what it comes down to.
No, it's true. And obviously we'll get to talking to a lot more on the podcast this week, but we'll go into a few of our thoughts while we're sitting here in the Flightdeck mobile unit.
Mobile headquarters.
Yeah, mobile headquarters. But as Cliff said, 25-18. It was a game not only for the defense, but for Kevin Ento, which we have given him a lot of flack over the last couple of weeks, especially after the last game versus Toronto.
Yep.
But boy, man, he showed up this week, and whatever he did during the off week,
do it again.
Yeah, please do it again. So I mean, pick six, a ton of batted away balls, and was just not the same player that he was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, credit to Calgary. They played tough as well. Jake Mayer was making throws that had absolutely no business being made, but credit to the Alouettes defense. It was a lot of bend, but don't break. Like, Rene Paredes, I think, scored all the points, essentially. He scored all 18 points for the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah, he did. And as we were talking before, after our rain delay or weather delay live, it seemed that David Cote was his normal self. But it was just so weird that, again, as I mentioned before in our live prior, that he would miss from what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, two within 40.
Yeah, and again, he got back on track. Whatever yips he had seemed to get rid of them for the second half, which is perfect because really that's all the Alouettes could muster offensively was field goals. So credit to Cote for getting himself back on track. And yeah, I mean, speaking with a couple of players after the game, though, there's a lot of relief, a sense of, okay, this is good, we got the win, but man, there was a lot to get cleaned up.
No, there is, and I don't know if it's a little concerning or not. A couple of people saw, it seemed that Cody Fajardo was off in the second half. Some of the throws just seemed to be Cody Fajardo-like. I mean, completely missing a wide open Tyson Philpott. He missed a KJG on an actual route itself, but it's very possible that, it's something may have occurred right before halftime. Again, he has another week to go. Well, less than a week, but, they play Hamilton on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a short week for the Alouettes. They've got they'll be going into Hamilton. They won't be facing Bo Levi Mitchell because he managed to get himself... there's a big lightning streak. And, unfortunately, Bo Levi managed to get himself back on the 6-game injured list, so... I guess it's going to be Taylor Powell, I think it's going to be for the quarterback for the Tiger Cats. So
yeah, our thoughts, by the way, out to him. For when it occurred, too, I mean, the second to last play of the game on, your victory formation, it was just it was just horrible.
Yeah, just, once again, everybody loves football. Football loves nobody.
No. Just real quickly, for the Alouettes, the leading receiver was Keon Julian Grant. William Stanback had just shy of 100 yards.
Yeah, he was back. He was definitely back in a big way.
He really did. He really did well tonight. Obviously, we'll go into things in a lot more detail. Again, Fajardo only had 158 yards. Did not have much in the second half, but
had a couple of nice passes, but again, it's just, like I said, little things that just need to be cleaned up more than anything else, and he'd be the first person to say so, too. In fact, he even said to me after the game that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff got to get cleaned up, and he's not wrong. I hate to say it, but he's not wrong, but at the end of the day, the Alouettes got the win. They're now 3-3, back in second place in the Eastern Division.
By the way, an Eastern Division right now that has the possibility, at least at this moment, to do a crossover.
That's crazy to think. I mean, you look at what's going on in Edmonton. I mean, again, shout out to our pals over the Turf District. Once again, the Edmonton Elks just find new and exciting ways to lose a football game. And both Alberta teams and the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now, it's tough sledding for them as well. So I mean, yeah, I know it's early, but it's still something to consider that maybe, just maybe, the East crosses over to the West
for the very first time in CFL history.
Wow. That would really be something. But listen, at the end of the day, the Alouettes got the win today. They're 3-3. As far as I'm concerned, they've got the good mo now. They've got the momentum on their side. Go into Hamilton. I'm not going to say that's a guaranteed win right there, but I mean, Hamilton too is hurting right now. And the week after that, Saskatchewan comes to town and plays the Alouettes. So I mean, this is a chance for the Alouettes to really make up some ground, because right now I just don't see how Toronto could lose any games. I mean, they're really on fire right now.
They are. As I said, the East is going to be very interesting, obviously, down. Again, we still have 12 weeks left. 12 weeks left of the regular season, so anything can happen, man. So, I mean, again, the Alouettes are back at 500. That's the main thing. Mm-hmm. And, again, they just got to do get a few things right again for next week. And, there were some nicks. We can't, we can say for sure, but speaking of some of the players post-game, there were some nicks, but we had some positive results when we had some players coming back. Tyrell Richards. Yep. We didn't know he was not supposed to play this week. He was not supposed to play, but he ended up playing and doing pretty good. So
he sure did.
Yep. And KGG, we talked to KGG post game. He did get whacked on the hand pretty good. It was what I thought. It was a dislocated finger.
Tried to pop it back in place and it just wouldn't stay. But yeah, he toughed it out. So I mean, give him full marks for doing what he had to do, and he made some outstanding plays as well. So I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is making the most of the opportunities when they present themselves. Yeah,
the big thing too, everybody needs to check on the practice list this week, is that a lot of these players are now eligible to come off the 6th game. So, Greg Ellingson, as an example, is eligible to come off. This past week it was Tyson Philpott, because of the extra bye week. He was able to come off. Yep. And by the way, this is just me, and I'm just going to at least mention it out, because I was corrected this week because I didn't know. I was under a misunderstanding, Cliff, when it came to the 6th game itself, that if you are on the 6th game, obviously it doesn't go against the cap. The player's salary doesn't go against the cap.
Right.
I thought that if player X came off at week 3 of the 6th game, that's the way it was. They were able to come off, and then they would start doing their salaries again. Well, lo and behold, I was told wrong. That if X player comes off at week 3, all the savings that they had for those first 3 weeks go now against the cap. So now, if anybody you didn't know, now you know, because it now does some explaining on how we can understand the 6th game even more, and why X player may come off early, or if he waits the entire 6. So,
yeah. So, once again, we won't keep you folks any longer. Definitely appreciate it. Once again, congratulations to the Montreal Alouettes. They got the W. That was the important thing. Ugly win, but a win nonetheless. So make sure you tune into the Alouettes Flight Deck later on this week. Make sure you're subscribed to the Flight Deck, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Make sure you're following us on social media. Follow us on, what do you call it, X now? It used to be Twitter. Follow us there at Alouettes.
It's still Twitter. It's still Twitter. Screw X.
By and large, it's still Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Follow us on Facebook. Obviously, if you're watching us, you know about Instagram as well, Alouettes Flight Deck. Make sure you tune in. As I said, we'll be back later this week. We'll expand more upon this game and look ahead to the game Saturday against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and if you haven't missed any of our lives today, they will be archived not only here on Reels, but they will also be put onto our YouTube account also, out like we normally do. So, bigger and better things for Flight Deck Live.
Exactly. So once again, thank you so much again. Alouettes win 25-18 against the Calgary Stampeders. From our Flight Deck mobile unit, I'm Cliffy D. That's Tim Capper. Have yourselves a good night, folks.